Next postulate of the neo-Darwinism theory is the natural selection. You know that the natural selection which is given by the scientist, that is Darwin. So what says natural selection? Nature selects the better adapted organisms. Okay, we have seen the Darwin's theory of natural selection. So nature selects those organisms which are better adapted in that environment, and these better organisms will produce more number of offsprings and which will leads to the formation of new species or variation into the organism. So this is basically the natural selection. Now we are going to study the examples of natural selection. Okay, with the help of different types of example we will study the natural selection. So the first example is the industrial melanism. Okay, first example is the industrial melanism. It is related with the color of the moth. Okay, that is why it is called as industrial melanism, because the melanin is the pigment which is responsible for the color. That is why it is called as industrial melanism, and the cause is industry. That is why industrial melanism. So what happened in early 19th century? In England, the specific city is the Birmingham. Okay, there is no industrial development. Okay, in the early century in the world. So what happened? Due to no industrial development, lichens. So lichens grows in plenty amount. You know that lichens do not grow in the industrial region. Okay, so these are the lichens are the indicator of pollution. So that's why lichens grow in plenty amount on the barks of the trees in that region, because there is no industrial development. So what happened? So due to this, there is observed that the plenty grey colored moth are also observed in that particular region, that is Birmingham in England. Okay, plenty of lichens and plenty of grey colored moths. Why these are plenty? Because they easily gets camouflage. ठीक आहे, कॅमोफ्लॉज मीन्स थोडक्यात काय लपवणे, स्वतःला लपवून घेणे, दॅट इज दी कॅमोफ्लॉज. ठीक आहे, कोणापासून? तर फ्रॉम द प्रेडेटर्स. सो दॅट्स वाय दीज आर नॉट easily visible due to the lichens, because lichens are in plenty amount and lichens are brown in grayish in color. So due to the color is same of the lichens and these grey colored moth, the scientific name is Biston betullaria. So Biston betullaria, the color of Biston betullaria is grey, which is similar with lichen. So that's why these are easily camouflage itself, okay, from the predators. And there are few black moths, okay, and there are few black moths. Means the black moths are less in number and grey moth, that is Biston betullaria, are more in number. And this black moth is also called as a Biston carbonaria. Okay, the scientific name is Biston carbonaria of black moth and Biston betullaria of the grey colored moth. The reason of plenty amount of grey colored moth is the camouflage, because due to the presence of lichens. So they get easily camouflage due to the same color, but these are black, so these are easily visible to the predators. So these are easily killed by the predator. That's why these are less in number. Okay, so in the early 19th century. Okay, but what happened in the late century? There is industrial development occurs into the England in that particular region, that is Birmingham. Now what happened due to the industrialization? The initial industrialization or industry used the energy from the coal. Okay, so they used the coal energy, and what happened? Due to the coal energy, there is a release of large amount of black colored soot. Okay, that is the smoke. So that black soot, okay, so due to the industrialization, these industries uses the coal energy, and due to the coal energy, there is a production of soot which is black in color, and that soot gets deposited on the bark of the trees, okay, in that particular region. So now what happened? Due to the production of this soot black colored, so that region is polluted. Okay, now what happened? Due to that, the number of lichens gets reduced, or the lichens gets destroyed. Okay, and the bark of the tree gets turned into the black in color from the grayish color, because due to the presence of lichens the bark of the tree is grayish in color, but now due to deposition of the black soot the color of the bark is black color. So due to this, what happened, the black moth gets survived because now they gets benefit due to the black color, that's why they gets easily camouflaged from the predator, and that's why this black moth survived and the number of black moths goes on increasing. Okay, and reverse to that, grey moth is easily visible to the predators, that's why they are killed by easily the predators and their number goes decreasing. Okay, so their number gets decreased. So the change in number of the two different species is due to the industrial melanism, due to the industry. So what happened, but after some period of time again the industry switch on the electricity. Okay, they get the energy now from the electricity, so that's why again that production of the black soot is reduced, and due to this, as the pollution decreases, lichens again start to grow on the barks, and due to this again what happen, the grey color moth again easily camouflage due to the lichens because the color is same, and that's why they reproduce and again increases their number, and the black moth again start to decrease in number because it is easily visible now due to the presence of lichen. Okay, because the color pattern is different of black moth and the lichen. So what happened, due to this again the number of black moth again decreases. So the increase and decrease in number is happening due to the industry, that is by that natural condition or the environmental condition. So this is the example of the natural selection. So nature select, that is means the lichens, due to presence of lichens the grey color moth increases in number. So nature selected that species, it means that nature selected that species, or the nature selects better adapted organism, and better organism will produce more number of offspring. So here we can observe that selection of the nature. Okay. So what happened due to this, actually there is a loss of light colored moth due to industrial development and replaced by the dark colored moth, and again when industrialization, when switched on the electricity, again it gets reversed. So this is the example of natural selection. Okay. So according to the nature's condition there is a change into the species, there is a change in the number of species, as well as there is a change in the characteristics of the species. Okay. So this is the one example. Now the second example is the DDT resistance in mosquitoes. Okay. DDT is a chemical which is used to kill the mosquitoes or insects, because in the 1940s or in 19th century or 20th century there is a so much increase in number of mosquitoes. Okay. So scientists develop a DDT chemical which is introduced in 1940s to kill the mosquitoes. So according to the Darwin, you know that every population, okay, we are considering here the population of mosquito, but every population in the living world shows a variation, because not all the organisms in the same population are same, they show a variation. Each population have a variation. So like that, in the population of mosquito they also have a variation, and that variation, this is the population of the mosquito and the variation. Suppose this is a variant mosquito. So that variation is the gene, and that gene is resistant to DDT. But before introducing the DDT, there is no use of that gene, or there is no significance of that variation. Okay. So the variation may be useful or not useful, but after some time or according to the condition it may be useful to that particular organism. So what happened, after introducing the DDT in the population, the mosquito which shows the gene which is resistant to DDT gets survive. Okay. Here DDT is used. So what happened, all the remaining mosquitoes were gets died, but those are live which have the variation, that is the gene which is resistant to DDT. So now the gene is useful to that mosquito, and that's why what happens, this variant variety of the mosquito reproduces and increases its number and produce or developed a DDT resistance mosquitoes, or DDT resistant mosquitoes we are developed due to that gene. So development of this DDT resistance mosquito is due to the by nature, okay, because according to that natural condition or according to that nature's condition, they get developed due to the DDT when we introduce the DDT, okay. So that's why they get developed. So that is the natural selection, and due to this what happens, there is a development of a new species, that is DDT resistant species, okay. So here we completed the two examples of natural selection mosquitoes. So third one example of natural selection and the last example, okay. So sickle cell anemia. You know that the sickle cell anemia. What is the sickle cell anemia? Because we have studied the sickle cell anemia into the molecular basis of inheritance, okay. So this is the autosomal recessive disorder, okay. It is a genetic disorder. So it is autosomal recessive. It means that it is due to the autosomal chromosome, means the first 22 pair. It is not related with the sex chromosome, which is the 23rd pair into the human beings, and it is a recessive disorder. So it means for the development of sickle cell anemia, there should be a 2 recessive genes, then and then only it can develop. So that is, it is a autosomal recessive disorder, okay. You know that very well, autosomal recessive disorder. So in African continent, okay, or in African country, it is predominantly found, that is the sickle cell anemia is abundantly found. The reason is, we will see the reason behind this. There are the 3 different genotypes, okay, of this sickle cell anemia, okay. So these 3 genotypes are HbA, it is the normal, okay. This is a normal genotype, means if the person have HbA, the person is normal, means the person is not suffering from the anemia, or it is not a carrier. So that's why what happens, the shape of RBC will be normal. So normal RBC, and there is a normal hemoglobin if the genotype is HbA and HbA, and biologically this is a ideal condition, okay. We want this condition, that is HbA, because there is a normal RBC and normal hemoglobin. If the RBC is normal and hemoglobin is normal, then the transport of oxygen will be normal, okay. Second genotype is HbA-HbS. Now HbA-HbS, you know that HbA-HbS is a carrier person, okay. So what happens, there is 50% RBCs are normal, but 50% RBCs will be sickle shape, means half moon like shape, okay. 50% RBCs will be normal and 50% RBCs will be sickle shape, means the half moon shape. So due to change in the shape of the hemoglobin actually, so 50% hemoglobin will be normal and 50% hemoglobin will be depicted, and due to change in the structure of hemoglobin, the result is that there is a change in the shape of the RBC also. So we call it as a sickled, means the half moon like, that's why we called it as a sickle cell anemia. So what happened due to this? Due to this, there is a oxygen carrying capacity will be low in that person which have the HbA and HbS genotype. Simply, the person which have HbA HbS genotype, their 50% RBC will be defected and 50% hemoglobin will be defected. So that's why the oxygen carrying capacity will be reduced, will be low in such a person. Okay. So third condition. The third genotype is HbS means this is a sufferer. Okay, this is a diseased person which is suffering because due to presence of both the genes, that is recessive gene for the sickle cell anemia, the 100% RBCs will be sickle shaped and 100% hemoglobin will be depicted. so there is a no oxygen carrying capacity in that hemoglobin, so there will be a death of that person. Okay, so these are the three genotypes. But nature selects biologically, we want this condition, that is HbA because there is all RBCs are normal and hemoglobin is normal. Okay, but nature, important point, nature selects the intermediate condition that is the HbA and HbS, because it is a carrier, it does not die. Okay, it is only a carrier which carries the disease. So 50% RBCs is suffering and 50% will be normal, and 50% hemoglobin will be normal and 50% will be defected. So the person cannot die. Okay, so why nature selects the HbA and HbS? HbA and HbS seen into the African continent, where I have told that the sickle cell anemia is predominantly found in African continent, because HbA and HbS, this condition is resistant to the malaria disease, because this malaria disease is widely spread into the African continent, in African country. So naturally there nature selects the intermediate condition, that is HbA and HbS. That's why the person are naturally resistant to the malaria in that region, that is the African region. If suppose consider if there is the normal condition, then these are very prone to the malaria disease, so it can causes death due to the malaria. But due to this the person cannot die due to the HbA and HbS gene combination, and along with that they get a resistance to the malaria disease. Okay, because this intermediate condition is a resistance to the malaria disease. So that's why nature select this condition, and so we found that in African continent there is a HbA HbS genotype in most of the humans. Okay, so this is the example of natural selection, how nature selects the organisms, okay, which is fittest to that particular environment. Now next topic, here we completed the examples of the natural selection. We have seen the total 3 examples. First one is the industrial melanism, second one is the DDD resistance into mosquitoes, and third example is the sickle cell anemia. Now next topic is the types of natural selection. Okay, so we will see one by one. So first one is the stabilizing or balancing natural type of selection. Okay, first one is stabilizing or balancing, means this type of natural selection want to stabilize the population, want to balance the population in that particular region. That's why it is called as stabilizing or balancing. So according to the stabilizing or balancing natural selection, what happens? Nature selects the intermediate organisms. The nature selects the intermediate organisms, and there is a elimination of the extremes organisms which are present at the extreme level. Those organisms will be eliminated through that particular region or through the population. We will see the example, then you can easily understand the stabilizing or balancing type of natural selection. So there are 2 example, that is the sickle cell anemia. We have earlier seen the sickle cell anemia. Okay, so in sickle cell anemia there is a 3 genotypes, means the HbA means will be normal person, HbA HbS means it is a carrier person, and HbS means it is a sufferer person. Okay, so HbS cannot live, HbA no problem, but it is a problematic condition in the African region because the malaria disease. So what happened? HbA and HbS is the most favorable condition in that region. So nature selects the HbA and HbS. So we will see the HbA, okay, and here is HbA and HbS. Okay, so these are present at the 2 extreme conditions, at 2 extreme levels. Okay, HbA and HBS and predominantly is HBA and HBS. But nature selects to the HBA and HBS and eliminates the extreme condition. Now which are extreme condition? HBA and HBS, these are the extreme conditions. So the graph will be like this because the extreme conditions will be eliminated by the nature. Okay? So that's why here will be elimination of these HBA and HBA genotype and HBS genotype. So there is only a predominant, that is HBS, because these are resistant to the malarial disease, to that protozoans. That's why nature selects the intermediate organism. This is the intermediate condition. Okay? And these are two extreme condition, HBA and HBS. Means one is normal and another one is sufferer. So these are two extreme condition, but there is one intermediate condition, that is HBA, means 50% normal RBC and 50% will be sickle shape. But this character is helpful into the African region, in African continent, because of the malarial disease, and HBA is resistant to the malaria. That's why in that particular region nature selects the HBA and HBS genotype. Okay? So this is a example, this is a type of natural selection, that is stabilizing or balancing. Okay? Now next one type of the natural selection is the directional or the progressive natural selection. Okay? So it runs in one direction, it moves from one point to the another point, and it is a progressive. That's why it is called as a progressive, directional or progressive type of natural selection. So what happens in this? The nature selects the most adapted organisms. Nature itself selects the most adapted organisms and will eliminate the lower or the least most adapted organisms. So we will see the example. Two examples, that is industrial melanism and Ddd resistance in mosquitoes. We have seen the both examples of the natural selection, that is industrial melanism and Ddd resistance. So what happened? You know that before the industrialization into the England, the black moth were very less in number and grey moth are very large in number. Okay? So grey moth are in plenty because of the lichens, and due to the presence of plenty of lichens, grey moth easily camouflage itself. But black moth are easily visible to the predators, that's why they are easily killed by the predator. That's why their number are low, okay, or less. But after the industrialization development into the England, in that particular region, that is Birmingham, what happens? There is a increasing in the number of black moth and decrease in number of grey moth. So there is a shifting. What happens in this graph? There is a shifting of these black moths. There is a shifting of this black moth from this left side to the right side. This is a suppose left side and this is a right side. So what happens? From this left to the right, there is a shifting or there is increase in number of black moth. So this portion now represents the black moth's number, and here this portion represents major portion represents the grey moth. But after industrialization, what happened? Black moth are easily camouflaged because of the releasing of the soot from the industry, which is a black in color. So the color is same of that moth because it is black moth, okay, which is black in color, and the color of the soot is also black. So they are easily camouflaged from the predator. But in case of grey moths are easily now visible due to the black color, okay, because they are grey and the color of the bark of the trees is black due to the deposition of these soot. So these are grey moth are easily visible to the predators. That's why what happens? The numbers of grey moths are low due to the predation. ठीक है, ड्यू टू द predation. So this is the directional or progressive type of the natural selection because it progress in a one direction. That is why it is called as a directional or progressive type of natural selection. Next type of natural selection is the disruptive natural selection. So in this type, nature selects the extremes, means nature selects the extreme organisms and eliminate, or there is a elimination of intermediate organisms. So it is exactly opposite to the first type of natural selection. Okay. So example, there is a snails, okay, which found at the sea bed, which are found at the sea bottom. So there are three snails, three variety, that is white, brown and black colored snails. White, which is denoted by small b genotype, capital B, small b, that is brown, capital B is black. So these white are easily camouflaged from the predator because the sand of the sea bottom is also white, so these are not easily visible to the predators. Now next extreme condition is the black, white and black, these are the two extreme conditions. So this black also gets camouflage on black rocks at the sea bottom, so these are also not easily visible to the predators. But in case of brown, these are easily detected by the predators, that's why these are easily killed. So this is an intermediate organism. So in this graph we have shown the black, B for black snail, white snail, and the middle portion is the intermediate. But the graph will be like this, okay? Why? Because the nature selects the extreme organism, and two extreme conditions are black and white, and the intermediate is the brown. So as the browns are killed by the predators, their number are decreased. So that's why the number of black are increased. Then there is a narrow portion of the brown colored snails which are intermediate organism, which are intermediate character, that is brown color. So intermediate organism gets it will be eliminated through the population, and the two extreme condition black and white will increases. Why increases? Because these are easily camouflaged, okay, due to the natural condition which are present into the sea. This is the natural conditions. Sand is white in color, this is a natural color. Then the black rocks at the sea bed is the natural condition. So nature selects the extreme organisms and eliminates the intermediate. So that is the disruptive natural selection. There is a disruption, okay, increase, decrease, and again increase. So two extreme conditions will be increases, the number of the organisms which are present at the extreme level will be more, and the intermediate organism, the number will be less. That is the disruptive type of natural selection. So here students, we completed all the three types of the natural selection. Okay. So in the next lecture we will see the next topic from the evolution. Thank you.